And one of the biggest challenges along the way, even if I only do digital, is attribution.
Yeah.
Where did the final say? Is it last?
Yes.
Is it the last touch? What should I attribute the sales to? And omnichannel makes it even more complicated, right?
Sure.
It just blows up, right? Because the touch points are so many. Where do I attribute this the conversion to, right? Now, are there any models that these organizations follow in terms of giving attribution, or is it just like an overarching this thing? This is the marketing spend, this is the number of customers acquired, this is the sales, this is ROI, ROAS, and we look at an overarching thing rather than looking at a very channel-specific attribution model. How do you approach this?
So I've done work in the past with a number of the large consulting firms where we were building out marketing mix models, right? Now, that's something that you can do if you have a fairly good data set. Maybe you have two years of data and you've mapped out your spends by a touch point across every day or at least every week, right? So you have at least maybe around 35, 40 touch points minimum across the different media touch points. You can build that out and you can understand which ones are contributing. This is good for categories that don't change very much. This is good for essentially steady state categories. The moment you have a new product coming in, that can be a massive disruptor. And many of the marketing mix capabilities don't always work.
Right.
One of the best ways to measure how well your omni-channel campaign or marketing is working is if you can create some sort of test and control, right? Typically, if you are not advertising something and the period that you are advertising it in becomes the base, the reference without advertising or without marketing versus what happens when marketing jumps. Again, that's good to do when it's a steady state or when there are some seasonal trends in, you can factor that in. Becomes a little bit more difficult to do when you are operating on an ongoing basis. For example, in retail, it's quite normal to have some campaign running every month, right? So you don't have the luxury of having a base state there. Again, if you are launching a new category, success of that category or success of that new brand can be measured quite easily because you had certain uptakes that you have achieved in the past, and you're able to measure the efficacy of your omni-channel mix in delivering this. So I think that's broadly the way that you would measure the overall success of the campaign. Attribution also means that sometimes you have certain internal benchmarks. Sometimes these are called vanity metrics,
Absolutely.
right? Sometimes these are quite relevant to consumer behavior. So, for example, awareness at some brand awareness at some level can be called a vanity metric, right?
Yeah.
The same way the number of followers you have or the number of engagements or that you get on social media can be called a vanity metric. Now, if you know why those are important to you, right? If you know why you need those awareness numbers or you need those engagement numbers or you need that traffic to your website, then they're not really vanity metrics, right? These are metrics that are important to your business because they form part of a very coherent plan to influence different parts of the consumer journey that the consumer is following. However, if you are blindly saying that, I need more followers, I need more engagement, I guess you can consider it a vanity metric. And in organizations like that, the only thing that really counts is the revenue that you bring home every month, right? So then that becomes your ultimate kind of, metric to use to find out whether your activity that month is successful or not.